What up, everybody? I'm back. Another update. I finally decided to take a job as a contractor, actually, for DirecTV, because that's what I was doing before. I was a manager or supervisor at DirecTV in Vegas, and after getting the business going and everything, in the very beginning stages and stuff, it's not real fast paced. You kind of have to learn the marketing, learn how to market the area and the kind of people that you want to target in that marketing scheme. So business always kind of starts off real slow, especially if you don't have a lot of capital to start off with. And I'm not the kind of business person that goes out and gets loans and stuff like that. It's just I'd rather take the slower approach and have as minimal debt as possible. I think it's just smart business to have minimal debt. Other people might be opposed to that and have a different philosophy or a different business plan when it comes to debt, things like that. Some people like debt. They think it's good debt to have debt on investments. And in some situations, I can kind of see how that is true, but you're also putting yourself at risk. If anything goes wrong, you still owe that money, and I think it's just smarter to cash flow as much as possible. That way, when you do run into a situation where you might not be making as much money as you did in the beginning, you're still able to comfortably get through it, not have to worry about having to pay a bill that you owe for your debt. So another thing I'm doing right now is trying to cash flow more into the business. And I mean, I do have money, but I don't want to keep dipping into savings to run the business. I want to be able to cash flow some of this stuff through an outside source of income. So that's why I'm going to become a contractor for DirecTV. It's piece rate work, so I kind of control how much I make, because the more I work and the more jobs I get done, the better I get paid. So doing that. I'm also starting to get back on track with the book. Got a few ideas on some chapters and things, subjects I want to cover. Still piecing together everything to kind of figure out exactly what to call the book and the overall concept of the book. But it is going to be along the lines of self-help and life coaching, things like that. So I just don't know for sure if I'm going to have a specific theme or anything like that I'm going to use for the book. Anyway, just want to kind of do a quick update. One other thing I want to do is another concept video here. So a lot of people don't understand. I mean, when you have the appearance that you're gaining success, and then all of a sudden you do something like go back and take a job. So what I want to do is kind of cover the subject of taking a step back so you can leap forward real quick, because a lot of people don't understand that concept. But I'm pretty sure if you could go back and tell yourself 5 years ago, or even relive that time, you would do things differently, and at least advise yourself to do things differently because of your experiences that you've had. Well, I teach a lot in my life coaching, a lot of imagination techniques and stuff that you can use. Are very powerful and can actually put yourself in a state to where you can actually tell yourself right now what the person 5 years from now would tell you to do differently, and to basically don't make the same mistakes that the person you will be 5 years from now would make. So if that makes any sense. Anyway, one thing I look at, here's a story. Back when I worked for DirecTV here in Colorado, I I was a technician. I got injured, and I always wanted to move up. I always wanted to be in management. I've been in management positions before I worked for DirecTV, and it's just something I like to be a leader in companies, because I think I do well with leading people, and I'm very passionate about helping people achieve goals and trying to get from point A to point B, whatever they consider successful. I like helping them achieve that, and I think I'm pretty good at it. I mean, I have a track record of actually helping people achieve success, including myself. So what I wanted to do was put myself in a position to where I can become a manager or a supervisor for DirecTV. And I did apply for supervisor positions when they opened up, but I didn't even get pulled in for an interview. And anytime I do something and I don't succeed, I always try to alter something. Not everything. You don't want to completely reinvent the wheel, as one of my mentors recently told me. You just want to tweak one little thing. I could take an analogy from being a satellite technician. 1 centimeter down here off on the dish is actually about 700 miles up in space where the satellites are located. So 1 centimeter makes a huge difference when you're picking a satellite between having perfect signal and having no signal at all. So 1 centimeter difference in anything you're doing in life could be the alter that you make that makes all the difference. So one thing that I did was I started changing little things that I was doing. And I mean, call it fate or call it whatever you want, but I mean, I got injured and I had to do light duty, so I put myself in the office doing paperwork and hanging out with the supervisors and the site manager. And I took that as an opportunity to try to prove that I'm an organized and meticulous person that can be a leader and also take on a supervisor role. It's hard for them to see me as that, as I'm in the field and not working with them on a day-to-day basis. So I took that opportunity to my advantage. And like I said, call it fate, but we lost a quality assurance lead at that point in time. And quality assurance lead sounds like an important position, and it is, you know, but it's not in the eyes of money, because they pay significantly less than technicians get paid. So, but I did know that they do spend time in the office, and they work one-on-one with the supervisors and the manager to basically go over the jobs that they have inspected and stuff like that. So one thing I decided I'm gonna have to do is take a pay cut. Now, I was taking a step back, like I said earlier, but I knew what I could gain out of that situation, because I viewed it from a different angle. I wasn't closed-minded and only thought that if I take this pay cut, I'm making my life harder right now for me and my family. Instead, I looked at the opportunity and said, and anytime I look at opportunity, I try to take opportunity. And if opportunity gives you some sort of a setback, any kind of setback is a problem. And the most successful people in this world are problem solvers. So I just take the problem that I had and I solved the problem. I went out and I applied for jobs, and I ended up becoming a cashier at Walmart. Now that sounds crazy, you know what I mean? Okay, you're making, $50,000, $60,000 a year as a technician, and you cut your income in half, and then barely got it back up to like maybe $45,000 by becoming a cashier at Walmart. Sounds nuts, right? Well, successful people understand things on a different level. If you take a step back, you have more room to leap forward. So what I did is I was able to take that time that I was in the office as a person on light duty that was helping out with filing and things like that, to show how organized I could be. And then I jumped on the opportunity to become the quality assurance lead. I got the job. I did it for 6 months, and it gave me the opportunity to prove that I could also be a leader. And in that time, we actually had a warehouse manager that quit to move on, do some other things. And I took that opportunity to learn as much as I could about being a warehouse manager or working in the warehouse. As soon as I heard he put in it was like a 4-week notice to give the manager enough time to hire a new guy. I took that entire 4 weeks to learn as much as I possibly could. I applied for the job and I got it. And that was the beginning of 2 other roles that I played in management with DirecTV. And it just went on to be something that I learned so much from that point forward. And I gained so much out of taking that small little pay cut, which seems like a huge pay cut, but really it paid off so much, because if I didn't take that step back, evaluate my situation, problem solve my problems, and keep moving forward, I wouldn't have gotten the success that I did. Moved to Las Vegas, I became a tech out there, and then I ended up becoming a supervisor in the first 2 months out there. Probably one of the funnest jobs I've ever had. Living in Las Vegas, Nevada, and being a supervisor, leading people at DirecTV is fun. I met a lot of great people. Now I have tons of friends in Las Vegas. Shout out to all my Las Vegas friends. And I'm actually going back there in a couple days, so I want to meet up with a couple of them people. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of make this quick video and this quick concept on how taking a step back sometimes gives you room to leap forward. And that's what I'm doing right now. Some people's eyes, it might be a step back for me to be a contractor for DirecTV when I'm over here trying to start 2 businesses. No matter how successful I am at the marketing, things like that, I see this as an opportunity to gain a little bit more money, and have a little bit more cash flow to keep the business, keep the investments going in the business, and put myself in a position to where I can easily launch this stuff with very little risk. So if you learn anything from that, I would say if you see an opportunity, take the opportunity, even if the opportunity doesn't seem like it's going to benefit you right now, because it could benefit you in the future. If you have to make some sacrifices and do a little problem solving now, it'll be way worth it in the future. It's worked for me and worked for other people that I've done this for multiple times. It's a proven method. Go out there and use it. All right, go do it.